I specifically put socks on. No feet pics for free. I literally, through all my podcasts now, will specifically put socks on. Because I get people commenting on my... Anyway, I'll call these conversations for... If I wear them, bro, if I wear those, I'm getting cancelled. If I wear those, I'm getting fucking cancelled.
We please got a photo in there.
Bro, I could put those...
You are listening to She'll Be Right MMA podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. We have Adele Fornarino and Nev Rikalo, soon to be Fornarino.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that last name.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah, well, I think it's going to go the opposite way around. I think I'll take her last name.
Really?
I know, it goes against what everybody thinks.
That's beautiful.
I think everybody thinks I wear the pants, but I don't think I do.
Whoa.
She's right.
She's daddy, hey?
We have to like snip at that because I'll keep recording that.
Yeah,
her to listen.
You can keep playing that, exactly. Yeah. I think it'll end up being Adele Rikalo.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's nice. Yeah, it's got a ring to it.
It's got a ring to it. It's faster when you're filling out documents, less letters, easy to spell, can't go wrong.
Beautiful. So nice, yeah. And back with Julien Hermanjat. Adele Fornarino won double gold, ACC, Pans, Euros, pretty much everything a female grappler could potentially accomplish. The most accomplished grappler from Australia too. Nev, best athlete supporter partner you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Dentist and blue belt. Hey, and you got your blue belt from Adele last year, right?
Was it last year?
I don't even remember.
Possibly the year before that, because we were still in Perth. So it was just when we were about to leave Perth. It would have been like December of 2023.
Yeah.
I think.
Sounds about right.
That's a guess. I'd have to actually look that up. But about like 2 years as a blue belt.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Cool. Because I met you guys in Perth. What brought you to Perth?
Yeah, we did meet in Perth, didn't we? So in 2021, the end of 2021 is when we decided to move to Perth. So we met in 2021, fell madly in love, and Nev told me that she was studying dentistry. She was studying dentistry at UWA, which was in Perth. So I always knew that she was going to need to move to Perth to finish her degree when we started seeing each other. And I just kind of made the jump to follow her to Perth and explore living somewhere else and experiencing something else. So at the very start, like end of 2021, start of 2022, we moved to Perth, like settled down. Nev went back into uni. I started working and training while I was there and stayed there until her degree was done. So that was 3 years in Perth, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did you study? At University of WA?
Yeah, UWA and Crawley. But yeah, we didn't expect her to come to Perth straight away pretty much. But she, we're getting closer and closer. And then she's like, you know what, I'm just going to come. And then we're planning to not live together. And then I had a falling out with my roommate. And then we decided, all right, we'll just live together. So it was like only a few months into our relationship.
Fantastic.
We definitely did like the classic lesbian thing, which is just like,
Yeah, you always
like start dating, move in together, like travel across the country together. Like everything was just so fast. The only thing we're missing is a cat.
True. Yeah.
That's the only thing we're missing right now. But
Cats.
I'm a dog person, but I like cats. Like Nev's a cat person, but I like cats. A good cat. Like I don't want a shit cat. I want a good cat that's like loving and cuddles. I want a cat that's essentially a dog.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah. Why you scared dog?
She's allergic to cats and dogs.
Oh. Hypoallergenic, maybe?
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. Trying to find a cat breed that's kind of like hypoallergenic or...
The white ones, maybe.
You had a white cat.
Yeah, I had a white,
beautiful
but he
white
was
cat.
like real fluffy. So he shed everywhere and he was like mainly outdoor. And then I was literally telling you this before.
Yeah,
we just like bring him inside and put him on a towel and he'd know that towel is like his spot. So it was super cute. But it like works if they're outdoor. And then that's the thing with cats. I feel like it's easier to be able to be away from them and like not get allergic. Whereas dogs, like they're super like around people all the time. So it's way harder. Unless we get like a poodle or something.
We'll probably get something hypoallergenic. Something
Yeah. Poodles are sick. They're awesome dogs.
My girlfriend's dog's a poodle cross. He's a cavoodle, and that dog is like nuts. Hey, he's got like the brain of the Cavalier, so he's like not too clever, but he looks like a poodle. So people always assume like, oh, he must be really smart. And I'm seeing him like, I don't know, he's rolled over on his back and like trying to lick his armpit in the middle of the living room. Yeah.
Dogs are really like their owners.
Yeah.
Just taking shots.
Yeah, there you go.
Tell us, how did you guys meet? If you,
We met on Tinder.
shout out
It's
to
a classic. Yeah, shout out Tinder, exactly. Or her brother and his wife. They met on Tinder as well, so it runs in the family.
Oh,
I know.
Tinder's real.
Yeah, Tinder works.
Yeah.
Hey,
Married him. Your brother.
my brother.
Yeah,
they're
they're
married.
married.
Yeah. They've been together for forever. Like, I think they've been together for like 10 or 11 years now.
Wow.
They got married after like 8 or 9 years. They moved to London, but yeah, they met on Tinder and just like instantly kicked it off and
Wow.
have not left each other's side since then. They're very happily married and exploring Europe right now, which is cool.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah, we didn't,
shout out to
expect it.
Tinder.
Yeah, we just didn't expect, like, we kind of were on there, not for something long term, just like, honestly, during COVID, I was like, oh, bored, I'm like, just going to talk to people. And then, yeah, like we met up illegally.
During COVID. Yeah. When you weren't supposed to be traveling more than 5 kilometers from your house. She lives, used to
far
live
north,
in, far north, which would have been like 30, 40 minutes from my house. But I had a friend that was a tradie that would, if I got caught by any of the cops that were, scouting the streets past curfew or like seeing if anybody was out of their like district, it was like, oh, just get them to call me and I'll just say that you have a job up there. So I had a good friend that was looking out for me, for sure. We definitely broke some rules, but made it work.
And it was like awkward as, because like the first, like, you couldn't go anywhere, right? So our first date was like in like a kind of, that's actually where she proposed. It was like a walk, like a bush walk, and then at the bottom is like a lake. And then that was our first date, just like going on a walk or a hike. And then the second time we met up was like pretty short. You just came to visit me. Then the third time it had to be at someone's house, and we both still lived with our parents. So it was like, this is our third time we've like met, and you have to meet the parents.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Everything just happened so fast. It was like 2 dates, meet your parents, stay at each other's houses for like days on end, and then it just like we became inseparable. It was like every day she'd either come to me or I'd come to her, and we'd hang out, and it was just, it was funny because we met at a time where everything else in our life was kind of stopped or at least slowed down. So that the training and the competition for me slowed down. Her study for the most part slowed down. She was doing the majority of it online. So those things that like take majority of our attention generally, all of that slowed down, and we just like could really connect and focus on each other for a bit. But then when we transitioned out of that after COVID, things started to like, our external life started to like ramp up. So we both had to get used to that. Like me, I had to get used to her like hours on end studying, and then for her, she had to get used to me like hours at the gym. So it was just, the dynamic kind of shifted after that.
Yeah.
There you go. Awesome. Sounds like there's a couple of crackheads rolling in.
Yeah.
Classic St. Kilda. Yeah.
Hey,
Is it Tito?
Tito.
Oh, it's Tito.
Hey.
It's even better.
What's up, bro?
Dude, we thought you were a crackhead.
Yeah.
Look at you go, bro.
I reckon hear him singing on the podcast.
Bro, we thought you were a crackhead outside. Yeah. We're about to like yell over the balcony being like, shut the fuck up.
Close the door.
You're trying so hard to hold a straight face.
Yeah.
There you go. I looked over at you. I couldn't help it because you looked me like dead in the eyes. I'm like, nah, I can't. I'm gonna break. I need to, whatever Adele's saying, need to focus
Bro,
here.
if the boom mic picks up on the planes, I guarantee it picked up on
Yeah,
Tito singing.
100%.
100%.
Tito's angelic singing.
Yeah.
So you guys, met 2020, inseparable immediately. When did you start grappling that? Because you started grappling after or before meeting Adele?
It was like, I had no clue what jiu-jitsu was, man. Like, I'd never heard of it before, like before I met her. And then we met, and obviously like that was like majority of her life. So I started to kind of try and understand it, to, connect to her with it. And we started, I think it was in lockdown, like we had, when we moved to Perth, we had to do that isolation for like 2 weeks. So we were just in the house, and then we bought like on Marketplace, we bought these like mats like during this 2 week period.
They were like rubber. They didn't have any vinyl coating on them. They were like literally rubber mats. So the friction on them, but they were soft.
Yeah.
So you could roll on them, but they like would pull at your skin, and it was the best way to get on Marketplace at the time.
It was like they used it under like fake turf. So like to make it a bit, I don't know, gymnastics or whatever they use it for.
Yeah.
But yeah, we set those up in the house, and then she was just teaching me like techniques or like
Basic hip escapes.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, all the like fundamental stuff you have to, how to do a forward roll. All that kind of stuff.
And then we did like rolls together. Like she would help me, and then we just kind of, I slowly started to really enjoy it. And then I think my first, because like I was in my early 20s, first few sessions at a gym, I kind of would only really roll with people that I like knew or I knew would look after me, because I feel like starting so late in life, it was pretty overwhelming, like as a woman and being, you know, 20 years old, like never having dealt with a contact sport at all. So that was difficult to start. And I think honestly, if I didn't have her, I probably wouldn't have continued, even though I love it so much, just because it was like really difficult. But then, once I just slowly like add another person to my bubble, then another person. And then once I knew like how to defend myself in a way, I knew where I was safe and where I wasn't. That's when I was like, okay, I'm cool. I'm fine. Because I knew like, all right, someone can't break me from here, or I can't get really injured from here. So I felt a lot safer. And that's kind of how I, slowly, it took like a few months to just get through that stage. But once I cracked, like, it was like this barrier, like once I cracked that barrier, then it was like, it just opened up. So
it's funny because it definitely gave me like a different perspective of jiu-jitsu, because I started when I was really young. So I started when I was 10, like 9 or 10. I loved it instantly, was instantly competitive, but I can't remember a time where I wasn't training. And I see a lot of like adults come into it, and I just sometimes can't understand why they don't get as much enjoyment out of it, or why they get so intimidated by certain things. Like for a lot of women that I know, like the warm-up is actually something that they really struggle with, like doing forward rolls and backwards rolls and bear crawls up and down the mat and hip escapes, because the movements are so new and they feel really awkward, and you're starting from scratch, so they feel silly doing it. I could never understand that. But then Nev started training, and I got like a different perspective of like an adult learning this new really weird sport. So it kind of gave me a different perspective as a coach as well, to understand what new people are coming into, and where they feel safe, and how, like, what to do to make them feel more safe, things like that.
What are some things that you guys think some gyms do well in terms of pedagogy targeted towards female jiu-jitsu? Pedagogy meaning teaching style.
I think one of the best things that I've come across in gyms is, and it sounds counterintuitive, but I think actually splitting the zero stripers. And I say the zero stripers. Some gyms do stripes, some gyms don't. You know, it's jiu-jitsu, it's whatever, like stripes don't do stripes, it doesn't matter. But the very fresh new people, like almost splitting them off from the other people, teaching them like the basic positions, what you're understanding from a defensive perspective. So when you're underneath mount, what you're looking for to keep yourself safe, to make sure that things don't get worse, and then like some basic escapes, and then all of those fundamental ideas from each position. And then fundamental movements, like how to do hip escapes, how to do forward rolls, all those things that when you're doing them almost don't seem important, but when you're teaching, so from a coach's point of view, when I'm teaching a class and we're doing, let's say, side control escapes, but more complex things, you want to be able to be like, okay, so when we get onto a side, we're going to do a hip escape. You want everybody in the class to know how to do that, rather than stopping needing to teach individual people how to do hip escapes. You want there to be like a foundational knowledge that you know everyone in the room has, to make it much easier to explain things and to teach things. And I think if you get that personal assistance doing that from a particular coach in a small group setting, I think it's much less intimidating. Because if you just let everybody loose and you go, okay, everybody do forward rolls, and majority of the class is doing forward rolls, and you feel scared or you feel intimidated to do it, I think that's when we have some of the problems of feeling silly or feeling inferior or feeling scared. But I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed. But what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like that, like we don't feel stupid doing things is super important. I feel like that kind of, I guess, splits up the people who are not so good at it. So everyone who you're doing everything with is like not great at it, which makes you feel a little bit better. And I feel like you taught me this one stripe syllabus. Like when I first started, I had to learn all the basics of everything. And I genuinely feel like that helped just like my fundamental understanding of jiu-jitsu, and I use that stuff like every day on the mats. And I feel like I've just you can kind of build your own things from there, but if you have that really basic level understanding, then I think you can go in so many different directions. Whereas if you skip that, then it's really hard to pick that up later down the track as well.
You start developing bad habits. I think there's 10 different, let's say there's 10 different parts of the course where it's like top of mount, bottom of mount, top of side control, bottom of side control / variations. So you could put knee right on in there, you could put north south in that side control kind of area. On back, in back, playing guard, passing guard, stand up. I'm sure there's one other that I'm missing. Oh, stand up wrestling and stand up guard pulling. So there's like 10 kind of aspects that you teach somebody. If you have that basic understanding of when you're on top of mount, how do you hold it, and what are you looking when you're attacking, and then what are you looking transitionally. So you have that basic understanding. Then you can be as complex as you want. There's a million different ways to take back from mount, but let's teach a really basic form. You're trying to look to create back exposure somehow. And then from that back exposure, we can transition to the back. You can create back exposure a million different ways, but the principle kind of stays the same.
Yeah.
I think having that basic building block makes a massive difference.
Definitely. Yeah, there's a few like little rules that you kind of taught in that I like still think about all the time. Every time I do like a move, like, taking back from mount, it's just like this one thing that I think about every time. Yeah, it just helps. So
there are those fundamental movements that even when I was, let's say, a purple belt, there were some of those fundamental movements I wasn't incorporating in my day-to-day rolling as much as I should have. So I had a big problem with shoulder walking.
Okay.
Shoulder walking is just essentially like hike your hips up, walk backwards on your shoulder to create distance from your partner so that you're not getting stacked as much or you're not getting compressed as much.
Yeah.
And I had a massive problem because I was just like trying to fight people off by just flat out pushing, bench pressing or like leg extending. And I'm small. So I'm like, me just pushing somebody away from me isn't always super effective. So rather than pushing them away, like moving my body away. And it wasn't until I was like a purple belt, maybe even a brown belt, that basic movement really kind of tipped over into my jiu-jitsu, into my actual rolls. But it came from a basic movement that I learned at the very start of my jiu-jitsu. I just needed to incorporate it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think when like I kept getting like my head wrapped, and it's because like every time I do a hip escape, I was hip escaping and I wasn't moving my head back, right? And that's like the second part of the movement until you're just like move your head back. And then now I don't get my head wrapped anymore for that one thing.
It's so funny.
That's like fundamental.
When you explain those things, you sound like me. Because that's how I explain it to people. And then it just sounds like I'm getting it repeated back to me, which is really funny. But yeah, you're right.
Thanks.
Amazing. You've got to clip that one. Yeah. Save it. Play it around.
You're right. It's going to be a ringtone. Yep.
Yeah. Sick. Competition-wise, you've got Fionn coming up next.
Yep.
How's that going? Prep going all right?
Prep's going great. Like, this is the second time I've done this camp. I was getting ready for it. It was supposed to be in March. Some things popped up. It's not in March anymore, obviously.
Somebody likes skiing too.
But, things happen. You have to be ready. You have to be prepared for any kind of situation. So that means it got pushed back a little bit. Yep. So we had to reevaluate how we wanted to structure the extra time that we had. So we sat down, me and my team. I always say we because it's important to like understand that it's not just me sitting down and planning everything. It's myself, it's Nev, it's my coaches, it's my strength and conditioning coaches, it's my nutritionist. It's a whole line of people, and we sit down and we work like very holistically. We all work together to understand what we need from each individual person when we're dealing with a training camp, when we're dealing with a weight cut, when we're dealing with strength gains, whatever it's going to be. So we all sat down and kind of realized, okay, we have X amount of extra time. I think it ended up being 2.5 months, maybe even close to 3 when we found out. So we did a little mini deload, started to ramp it back up. Now we're getting into the specifics of it. So like getting that extra time has been fantastic. Like it's just now, like I was sharp, ready for March, but now it's like we get an extra little boost of let's really sharpen some of these things. Like I feel even better now than when I did in March. Yeah. And I felt really good in March, but now I'm like, okay, we're ready to go. Like I just gave me that time to reach that next little level.
Yeah, awesome.
Wow. Fantastic. I guess without giving away the game plan, a grappler like Fionn, what are her strengths and weaknesses? What are things that you guys have been considering in showgazing for that match?
Well, like most people that watch Fionn know, like her top game is quite aggressive. She goes in quite heavy. Knee slices are obviously really good. But like her top pressure is quite good. Maybe she's developing her guard as well. It'd be cool to see her if she wants to use some of those skills. I think what I like to pride myself on is being well-rounded. So I don't see myself as a like single-dimensional grappler. I know a lot of people see me use a lot of closed guard, but it's almost as though they see me use a lot of closed guard because it's my A game. I feel very strong there, but I just haven't needed to I haven't needed to use my passing or needed to use my wrestling or needed to use some of the other parts of my game that I feel are still really strong. It just, I haven't needed to use them in the competition scene as much. But for her, I think we're well-rounded enough to be able to be comfortable wherever the fight goes. And I think that's the most important thing, to not be single-dimensional. Like, be ready for everything.
I feel like you've been, like, planning this skill set for this match for years. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even just, like, the camp. It's, like, you knew that at some point you're going to fight her. And, like, even it was, you know, you thought, like, last ADCC before she moved to CGI, like, you already had a plan and you've been developing that plan for, like, 2 whole years just for that match as well. So I think it's, like, everything's now come together over that period of time that, like, you know, ready for it. So, yeah, very excited for the opportunity. I'm excited for it to be even on just the UFC platform itself. I think that's an exciting thing. It's exciting that it's the first ever female main event at UFC grappling at FPI, the first ever female main event. So we're headlining the entire show, which is really cool. Really excited about. Like, there's a lot of females that have come before me that have deserved that opportunity because they're amazing and very skilled and have a lot of accolades. So it's not to say that nobody deserved it before us, but we are really excited to kind of hold that title and have that as this little kind of, we're breaking those barricades, we're breaking those barriers for the female scene.
That's sick. Yeah, it's so cool.
Beautiful. Growing up, who are some female grapplers that you guys looked up to? I guess obviously Nev started you two later, but like you've been surrounded by obviously the best grappler in a realm, and a few other. They've had the pleasure to train with some really good girls too overseas in this room.
Who's your favorite?
Apart from you?
Yeah, I was going to say, thank God you said that. I was like, I was waiting, I better get a mention in this.
It's hard, like, I think I always, like, admire B Mosquito because she's the GOAT, like, of women's jiu-jitsu. Like, there's no doubt about that. So, yeah, her definitely, and just, like, as a human being, she's really, really, like, a good person, very lovely, very giving, very excited for, like, the new generation of grapplers as well. So she really, like, holds that crown for me. In terms of, like, other technical ability, I think Maisa's probably, like, my favorite technically. I think her and Adele hold, like, that kind of most technical, like, athlete in the women's scene. I think they're both, like, super, super technical, and that's the kind of jiu-jitsu that I want to develop. So I try and kind of base my game as much on them because I really just admire their jiu-jitsu. So I think those two, like, have always kind of been the ones that I've, like, really, like, enjoyed and looked up to.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's so many talented females on the scene, so many talented females that are known and unknown. B Mosquito definitely holds a very important part in the jiu-jitsu female history, I think, because she's been doing it for so long and she's literally won pretty much everything. Elizabeth Clay's, we can't go through this and not mention Brianna St. Marie as well. She's incredible, but also just, like, a fantastic human. We're such good friends and we got the privilege of hanging out and training together. But just, like, the opportunities that I've had to develop from her game, and she's taught me so many amazing things both on and off the mats. That was a very good experience, and something really important to my progression is being able to connect with somebody else on the scene that understands it. Like, she gets it. She gets the anxiety side of things. She understands the stress of competition, like, even to the point of, like, fight promotion negotiations, things like that. She gets it. So we can always kind of lean on each other for that. But like I was going to say, like, Elizabeth Clay, who's incredibly technical. She's always fun to watch. Helena's going to be really interesting coming on the scene. She's been really fun to watch. There's just like the list is endless.
So would you say is like the person you really looked up to when you were younger?
When I was younger,
Yeah.
oh, that's tough. Like I definitely looked up to Maisa just because of how technical she is, and how many times she's done it, how long she's been doing it. I think she has some of the most world titles, I think.
Yeah.
I think she's just very technical. Yeah, I remember watching a lot of her matches. Even Anna Vieira, I remember watching a lot of her matches. She was an incredible athlete and still, like, she won the most recent ADCC in the minus 65 division. Plus 65, sorry, plus 65 division. She's incredible.
No, it's minus 65.
I think it was minus 65. Who went to plus 65? Haffa. It was another good. I could sit here for hours naming female athletes, and you know what's funny about the female scene? Majority of the time, all the girls like get along and like actually support each other, even though they compete against each other. There's not a lot of maliciousness between the girls. There is some like tension between some athletes, but for the most part, everybody's just happy to be doing what they love, which is cool.
It's the difference between male hormones and female hormones.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit like
Sometimes.
that. Yeah, it's a little like I think that the guys are really good at shit talking each other. Like, and I think the guys also don't take it as personally when there's a bit of shit talking.
Yeah.
I feel like when girls start to shit talk, like there is a little bit of like we take it personally, and some girls are a little bit like I don't want to like say it in a bad way, but a little bit more sensitive about that kind of stuff. Like we take it to heart a little bit more. And it's also it comes off. When guys shit talk, it comes off as alpha and bravado and cool. When girls shit talk, it's just flat out bitchy a lot of the time. So just like it gives a different
Straight to the heart too.
Yeah, and then like you get other girls that like jump in and be like, "How dare you say this about that person?" So it's a little bit.
You saw what happened with Jasmine, right?
Yeah,
Like just wanted to hype up the match, and then
Jasmine started talking shit about Fionn for their WNO match, and Jasmine Rocher copped a lot of smack for that.
Oh shit.
But as an athlete, you can see what she's trying to do. She's trying to build hype. She's trying to build interest for a particular match. Like, she's doing her job.
Which it did,
It did. People were there to watch. People, like, they were there to watch because they wanted to see Jasmine lose, but they were there to watch. And that's, at the end of the day, something when you're going out and doing these massive fight promotions, the fight promoters will sit you down and they'll say the same thing. You're there to put on a performance for the audience. Our job as athletes when we go out to those stages, WNO, UFC, One Championship, ADXC, whatever it's going to be, is to put on a show so that people buy tickets. Even if you lose, but you put on a good performance, they'll put you back on.
Yeah.
But it's all about, like, can you bring an audience? Can you make people give a shit about you as an athlete and your jiu-jitsu?
I think the last, like, Fight Pass when they sat everyone down, they were literally like, we do not care if you lose. But if your match is boring, you're never coming back on. That's it.
You could win, but if you win, like, doing boring shit, you're never coming back on.
Yeah, but just make it exciting because, like, we want to bring new eyes to jiu-jitsu, and that's the whole point, right?
Nice.
Yeah, that's what's going to bring jiu-jitsu further, right? It's as a sport to reach the next level, we need audience.
Yep.
We need a rule set. We need a character line. So we need like interest in the actual athletes themselves. We need enough like funding from sponsors and things like that, and that's just it'll keep building into each other, right? If we get all those things, more funding, more exposure, more sponsors, more athletes get paid better, more competitive. If the athletes get paid better, they can put more money into their coaches, their rehab, their whatever it's going to be. And that's what's going to elevate the sport more is if we can pull more audience. But it starts with the audience. If we get more people watching, then it warrants the expenses being like put towards the athletes a little bit more.
Yeah, brilliant. There seems to be a bit of buzz around it. At least, like, if you look at the room here, especially with CGI trials coming up, like, it's full. Always. And like the grappling mat in this gym is always packed.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see that how the sport's like picking up.
100%. How long have you guys been training?
So similar to Nev, I started early 20s, so 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, 5.
Fun.
Mostly striking, but yeah.
You one of those guys.
I know. Yeah. Been having way more fun with this.
Yeah.
It's a decent grappling for a striking guy.
I don't know what that means, but thank you.
For a striker, there was a bit of like venom in that for a striker guy, I guess.
Yeah.
So you guys have been in the sport for such a short amount of time. So I say short. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 16. This will be my 16th year. when I started, it was like there wasn't much going on. Like the gyms weren't super full. Definitely weren't many females doing it. You know, there was maybe one class a day. Some gyms would have a 6 a.m. class, but there's no real lunchtime classes. Every jiu-jitsu gym would have a Muay Thai section so that they could actually fund the jiu-jitsu, because Muay Thai had a really good turnover, could pull like more of the wider audience in. Everybody likes hitting pads. It's not hard to understand.
No,
you
it
know?
makes a loud noise.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
yes,
like, yes, I'm doing something strong.
I kick hard. Let's go.
But the Muay Thai guys would then look at the jiu-jitsu mats and they'd dabble in there, and then they'd get obsessed. Yeah,
That's actually literally me.
it's most people,
It's
hey.
like Dad really wanted me to train jiu-jitsu. We like tried it one time.
Like, no, that's
Dad
gay.
trained for literally. I'm looking sweaty with my dad. Like, balls in my face. Like, this is so weird. I just want to fucking get pads and learn like real shit. And then I think Dad got me going for like a week. I'm like, this is awesome. I want more of it. Like, went full autism mode. And
Yeah.
That's a little puzzle, hey.
it's the best.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
But it's
getting
just-
hit in the head. Like, isn't it?
It sucks.
You
bro.
need to get
After, like,
hit
a year,
once
it's
to be like,
like-
no, I don't like this.
Well,
You're concussed once.
I got concussed back to back pretty bad. So September I had a K1 fight. First loss in 2 years, got like the shit beat out of me. And then I was like 6 weeks later, okay, I'm good to go again. Get dropped in sparring. Oh, fuck, okay, now I've got to seriously take some time off. And thankfully I had Jack and Aaron in my ear, like, just grapple. Like, okay, yeah. Love it. So much fun.
So fun.
And it's hard to say definitively because I haven't stepped too deep into the MMA space and the striking space. But grappling does take such a long time to develop.
Yeah.
There's so much depth to it. There's so many little corners and avenues in there that just takes time to really understand. So it's good to like put that time to good use and develop that skill,
Yeah.
because it never goes to waste. Like, you learn something, you understand something, then you can always pull it back into what you're doing.
The atmosphere is very different. It's like you walk in, everyone's happy.
Yeah.
No one's on edge. You come in and you train and you like take the piss, and then you learn so much because you're enjoying it. There's not that added like, oh, fuck up, I'm gonna be like gonna be concussed and blah blah. I mean, like, obviously you got really bad injuries that could happen.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, your training partner's looking after you.
Yeah.
After 16 years of training, have you had any injuries that set you back?
You can say that. Touch wood.
Yeah. and you've been-
I've actually been pretty okay.
Technique,
I guess I'm just superhuman, you know.
no,
No, I like touch wood.
Yeah.
No, I've been decently okay. A few like niggly things here and there, but nothing that's really set me back too far. It's a little bit of just like sheer arrogance and stubbornness, and just also nowadays being a little bit more aware of who I'm rolling with and how I'm rolling. Like, my body is my career. Like, it's my source of income, so I need to be quite careful and picky with what I'm doing. Niggly things here and there, but nothing too crazy serious. I also live in the realm of like blissful ignorance,
Okay. Yeah.
which is like, if my knee hurts, but it's still stable and I can still walk, I'm probably not going to get an MRI on it, because if it still walks and it's stable and it moves the way that I need it to, but I get an MRI and I find out something's wrong with it, that's going to play in my head.
Yeah.
I'll be like, fuck it. It's if my MCL was gone, I'm going to be thinking, oh, it's more unstable. It's like, it's not working the way I want it to, when it could be like structurally held together quite fine. So I'm not suggesting that is the path to glory, but I'm just simply saying, like, I personally, for the most part, unless something is really been niggling at me, I live in blissful ignorance. Just, if I don't
That's
know,
most
fine.
jiu-jitsu people, right? Like, I feel like jiu-jitsu changes that, like, in your brain, you know? Like, if I'm doing tennis and I had this, like, this will, you know, my elbow hurts and whatnot, you take, like, some time off. But with jiu-jitsu now, it's like everything hurts. No, it's just normal.
Yeah.
I love getting a new injury because the old one disappears.
Yeah, agreed. Oh my god, yes.
My knee sore today. Like, oh, perfect. My shoulder doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. It's so true, hey.
In terms of injuries, I have an interesting question for you, because obviously you're a dentist. You've been practicing for 3
No,
years?
this is my second year.
Second
So
year?
it's like been a year and like a bit more than a year and a half now. Yeah.
So I can ask professional advice.
Yes.
Should we or should we not wear a mask?
We should. We should. But I don't wear one. Don't like sniff at that and send it to my boss. Or
Get in trouble.
I'm gonna get in trouble. But no, you should wear a mouth guard. I try and tell her it's a weird one, but I know she won't, because like the issue with me is I have one made and it's like fitted very well, But I notice when I roll with it, I just can't get air in properly. And like, I know, especially if I'm competing and I wear one, because that's where I just like, I get scared I'm going to get injured or something's going to happen. So I'll wear it all of a sudden when I'm competing and I just like cannot breathe. So I don't know. I think I just got to start wearing it more during training and just get used to it and suck it up. But
If you're going to compete in it, you need to train it.
Yeah,
I
you
think
train
is
it. Yeah,
gonna be
exactly.
the better thing
But
to do.
forces you to nose breathe.
yeah, exactly.
Which supposedly is better.
It's probably better.
That's what I hear.
It's uncomfortable though, and people press on you. And
Yeah, I don't know. I just like,
sport made for mouth guards.
yeah. I just feel like it doesn't work as well. But, you know, heaps of people wear them and are fine. So I'm just probably being a sook about it. But like the night before competitions, I'm not worried about the competition, man. I'm just worried about getting injured or like my tooth getting knocked out or like that's what I'm having nightmares about is like something breaking. So,
Out of all the injuries, though, for me, like getting a tooth knocked out is the one I'm least concerned about. Because it doesn't,
concerned.
but it doesn't stop your day-to-day function, right? You get a tooth knocked out, you're like, oh, that sucks. That's rude. But it doesn't. Like, you can still do your job. missing a
imagine me
tooth.
going to work.
No, I hear you.
I
I
was
hear
gonna-
you.
To like fix people's teeth and I've got
Got like a missing tooth there. Yeah.
You don't want to walk into your dentist and see them missing a tooth. I get you.
I would just wear a mask all day. Like I would not take it off.
But like out of all the things, like right, if you do your knee, you can't walk, you can't train. If you're missing a tooth, like I'd be bummed about it. Like I wouldn't be happy about losing a tooth.
I would be way more shattered than you if you lost a tooth.
And you would be shattered for me.
Yeah. Like I would be distraught.
here's the thing: if I miss a tooth, you're the only one that's going to be upset about it because you're the only one that like looks at me and notices my teeth.
Yeah. You'd be surprised.
Consider this though: a
Yeah.
smile is the gateway to soul.
Yeah, but you can smile without your teeth.
Yeah, but that's like your soul is closed.
I just got like a flash of like an old lady smiling with
Yeah.
like no
teeth.
no
No
dentures
teeth at
in.
all.
Yeah.
Look, if I
Yeah,
lose a
so-
tooth and that's the determining factor of whether we get married or not, then I'm concerned.
We'll fix it. It's fine.
You'd put in something, I'm sure. But that's the thing. I can get my tooth fixed for a very reasonable price.
You can make it a promotional thing.
True.
You're like, there you
Fix
go.
my fiance's tooth.
Yeah.
We mouth guard.
Yeah, true. Fair enough.
Nev's teeth. Nah. Those 3 teeth.
No three teeth.
Nev's teeth films. How often would you replace someone's teeth? Well, surely it doesn't.
What do you
happen
mean by
often.
like teeth or
for young people that like?
that like actually get a tooth knocked out? It's pretty rare, honestly. Like I get most of the time it's little kids or like people like maybe like 11, 12 that they like fall over and they don't really knock a tooth out. It's mainly like fractures. But knocking your tooth out's pretty rare.
Pretty hard.
Yeah, and it's hard to do. And honestly, yeah, it happens more in like footy than anything. Yeah, I noticed.
Like
Like,
they're running at each other full pelt,
yeah,
like smacking into each other. It's a bit different than you could get hit here and lose a tooth. Like I know somebody that's lost a front tooth from jiu-jitsu and had to live a few weeks without a front tooth.
yeah,
But it's rare. Like I've only ever seen it once.
yeah. It has to be
Touch
like
wood.
freak accident, right?
Well,
Do you know what happened with him?
Yeah, I had a luxation in my front tooth last year.
I remember that. Oh my god, I
For
remember
about
that.
an hour, I was like Bucktooth Billy. It was great.
Yeah, I do remember that. I was in a competition, hey.
Freestyle wrestling comp.
Yeah, wow. I remember the
Connor Evans
photos.
comes up to me and he's like, "I've been wrestling forever. I've like never seen that." Oh, sick. That was help me, bro.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna pull guard now. So
I always did. Like this is a wrestling comp. When would I ever wrestle?
yeah.
I think if there is a God out there, God was telling me don't wrestle.
Yeah,
He wasn't
yeah.
telling me wear a mouth guard. So like just pull guard. Bro.
Just pull guard. I think we were talking about this before because we were kind of talking about the CJI and how Craig's going to fight a wrestler. And everybody in the comment section is, oh, you know, Craig's going to be a bitch and he's going to pull guard and that's so gay, this, that. I'm like, yeah, but somebody jumped in the comments and was like, but what's more like humiliating? Pulling guard or getting submitted by the guy that pulls guard and butt scoots towards you?
For real.
Like, what's more embarrassing, getting submitted by that guy or being that guy? Like, getting submitted by that guy, right?
Facts.
I think-
Do you think there's more net positive benefits to playing guard, to like putting all your bricks into playing guard?
Depending on what the purpose is of your career.
Jiu-jitsu.
If it's just flat out winning and jiu-jitsu and technical ability, then yes, having a good developed guard, a dangerous guard is really important. Because you do have a lot of attacking opportunities when you're playing guard. I always kind of talk about it in the sense of like assets. You have 4 assets, 2 arms, 2 legs. When you're playing guard, you have use of all 4 of those assets. to put towards your partner. When you're passing guard, you have 2 feet on the ground. So you only have realistically 2 assets to actually connect, but you have gravity. So pros and cons always. When we're talking about it from the perspective of an audience and what's going to be most interesting for the audience, then guard pulling is difficult because it's such an integral part of jiu-jitsu. It's the foundation of jiu-jitsu, and that's why jiu-jitsu is not wrestling, and that's why jiu-jitsu is not MMA. Jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu. But if you don't understand guard from a spectator's point of view, it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's not that interesting. It's like when you're watching an MMA match and somebody's in closed guard.
Yeah.
What does the audience do?
Like, boo.
They start booing.
Straight away. Yeah.
So I don't get it. Yeah.
Well, there was the thing where Kron was like pulling guard the whole time when he
Yeah,
fought
I've
Bryce
seen that,
Mitchell.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, it's a different thing. There, you're like putting yourself at a disadvantage, right? Because you're going to cop an elbow. You're
Yeah.
going to cop something.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's a different game. Like, you can't expect the same the same like interactions to take place.
But it's funny though, because when Kron was pulling Bryce Mitchell, was it?
Yeah, he was trying to pull guard with Bryce Mitchell, but he was like butt scooting towards him as well.
Yeah, because Bryce wasn't engaging, right? So it's like, even though Bryce can hit him,
Yeah.
he still knows that engaging in that position is dangerous.
Dangerous,
for him.
yeah.
Like, it's still, it's a tough one, because when you look at it from a martial artist point of view, you're like, if the top person engages with the person playing guard, it could go really bad for the person on top really fast. But if they just don't engage, then all you see as a spectator is somebody butt scoop towards somebody else.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good
So you're
point.
like, this is fucking ridiculous. This is stupid.
Mhm.
But if the person at top engaged, then they'd probably be at a disadvantage if they got tangled up, right?
And make it a more entertaining exchange as well.
It's tough. I don't think there's any perfect rule set. I think it's really difficult to incentivize the person on top to engage or incentivize the person underneath to stand back up. It's very difficult to go either way on that.
Well, you like think about what's the easiest points you can get in jiu-jitsu. It's like sweep points, right? So like wrestling, then it's like so much harder to take someone down to get points. Whereas if you pull guard, you've got so many opportunities to submit. Like, you don't have to pass anyone to submit, right? But like, you can also sweep as well, which is easy points. Whereas if you're passing guard, you've got a pass guard, which is hard if the person's got a good guard, and then you have to submit after that. So it's like, I think it's like easier to score submit from guard, but then and more tiring if you're passing. In jiu-jitsu's like perspective,
Passing is exhausting.
yeah.
Playing guard, you can be so like much more energy efficient, I could say. But passing guard is really difficult. So against somebody that has a really good guard, I was teaching a seminar recently, and I explained it to the guys, saying like, if you're passing guard, you could do 99 things right and 1 thing wrong, and you're ending up back in their guard. If you're playing guard, you could do 99 things wrong and 1 thing right, and they're back in your guard. So it's like, there's much more room for error when we're playing guard compared to when we're passing guard. You have to get everything perfect if you have somebody that has a really good guard and really good guard retention and guard recovery. But if you're playing, then like all they got to do is make 1 wrong move and they're back in a deficit position, get them back to closed guard or kick them back out or make more space, whatever it's going to be. So it's like
they have to go again, and like that mental battle, you know, where they're like almost there and then they don't get it, and they have to pass it again.
But it's good to be well-rounded.
That's enough. You guys start playing guard?
Fair enough.
No, I've got to lean on what I can do so far. we'll build, but maybe not quite yet. Yeah.
Fair enough.
We'll see.
It was so funny. You were trying to teach me guard, and I'm like on my back. I feel like a turtle. Hey, I'm like,
It's
I
like that
can't
for a
do
while.
anything. You know.
But that's like going back to like what we're talking about people when they first start. It feels silly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
And then when it starts to click, you're like, all right,
Yeah.
this makes sense.
Yeah.
We can do something with this.
Yeah, I haven't hit that portion of the learning curve yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get you there.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a good guard, like especially at the start of jiu-jitsu is so like it's such an advantage.
There.
But like if like I feel like having a good guard at like blue belt is like not that many blue belts have a really sophisticated guard. I feel like you already have like a 1-up at least, and it's harder to develop too. Like spending so much time on that. Nice.
I definitely think out of all the skills in jiu-jitsu, guard retention is one of the more difficult ones for sure. Like it does take more time because it goes against everything we think about when we talk about self-defense. Like you're putting yourself on your back, like lying flat, legs and arms up in the air. Like it goes against all the fundamental principles of like keeping yourself safe.
Yeah.
But if you understand how to like work past that and use that to your advantage, then it can be really beneficial.
If you got like perfect guard retention and could just up kick people,
You're safe forever.
There you go.
Yeah,
Maybe that's the way.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the path to glory in MMA.
Yeah, just tee people in the face off your back. That's it. Yeah.
I'd watch that.
I'm not going to Grieve Street. No shot.
After obviously teaching Nev and like seeing her journey progressing later on, are there any lessons that you've reflected on that you would have used pretty like earlier in your career? Anything like any mistakes or anything that you should have solved earlier? In a sense?
I think one of the main things is just being more like particular with what you're working in each session, like skill developing specifically in each session. It's very easy to go out there and just roll aimlessly. And if you're a hobbyist and you're just going there to enjoy it, that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're trying to progress in a skill, it takes like a conscious effort of like paying attention to what's going on in your rounds, making sure that you're trying to actually improve at a certain aspect of your game, getting out like outside input from other people to like assist you in what you could improve on, things like that. I think I would have done a little bit more early, and also being a little bit more particular with who I'm rolling with. When I was a blue belt, I would just roll with everybody. They could be 120 kilos, didn't care, I'd roll with them. And that's not injuries directly, but it's just what put more wear and tear on my body. And now after like 16 years, I have knee injuries. I have not like injuries that have just like not acute injuries where they just happened and I've been hit or something, but like, you know, the cartilage in my shoulders is probably a little bit less than what it probably should be. You know, my knees are probably not as like mobile as they should, like just things like that. Like that I'd probably get a little bit more pain than I should have if I made adjustments earlier on with rolling with particular people. My body would probably be in a bit better nick. Then I can pass that on to her and she can feel like a spring chicken. 16 years into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, honestly, like, I definitely pick and choose like partners that are closer to my size. But I have a job. I can't risk injuring myself because, you know, I decide to roll with someone who's like 50 kilos heavier than me and they just accidentally fall in my hand. Like, it's not their fault, like it's an accident, but it's more dangerous in that way. So you just have to be smarter about it. You've got other things to do.
Yeah. Wrestling is overrated too. I say that first now, but wrestling is difficult and the risk, like the injury risk for somebody that's my size, it's very high. Like you see people get landing funny, get injured, get the knees tweaked, all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, there's a video circulating around at the moment of just a freak accident that was Sam from Perth. He got taken down and his foot from Sydney. Just got taken down and his foot got caught underneath him and completely broke his ankle, if not dislocated it. And it was a freak accident. Nobody did anything wrong. But if he pulled guard.
Which he normally does. Like, but even in the training room, he's probably like trying to try and develop his wrestling.
Freak accidents happen.
In training, crazy. Risk of injury, sort of ceiling for sure. And
So less wear and tear on my body if I just don't wrestle as much. Have the skill, but you just don't need to use it all the time.
Did you see the video?
No, I didn't, but I can imagine.
Finally
we can plug it in here.
Yeah, exactly.
We need a Jamie.
It's pretty gross. It's pretty brutal.
He finally got into Broco, trained with Gordon Riot, all down in his team.
And then
that happened.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's gruesome. It was a gruesome one. Like, it's one of those ones where you kind of look at it and you look away a little bit, but then you play it again and you keep playing it.
And you slow motion it just to see.
I do hope he's okay, because that's
me too.
That's a brutal injury to have.
Legend, though, a very good example of someone like bad things happen to him, and he turns the table and makes like the payment action, like makes a good thing. He's the guy that got banned for.
That's right. I saw that.
In the root finger.
Yep.
Probably the most viewed video on Instagram ever. For a jiu-jitsu athlete.
So funny.
What was it, like 1 million?
Something crazy. Yeah.
It wasn't his mate or something that he was doing it to as well, or no?
I think he knew the guy that was doing it. His first place.
Hosky, right?
So it wasn't even like a malicious thing.
Train partner.
Right.
No, just mates. Wow.
Shit luck. Shit luck.
Yeah.
Speaking of controversy, last week, there's a bit going on. Would you like to talk about it with Hyperfly's potential collaboration with Playboy, which previously is obviously had a bad rap?
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I think the more I deep dove into that as an issue, the more complex it got, because there's so many layers, and the instant outpour of what would you call it? People just not liking that collab because of the history of Playboy as a brand. And there is a lot of history. There's a lot of really dark history. There's a lot of really unexcusable and unacceptable things that happened in Playboy as a brand. And there's a lot of people that were deeply involved in Playboy that played a really big part in that bad history. I don't know if all the women involved in that history were appropriately compensated, or whether they, were supported in the way that they needed to be, coming out of those issues. So there's that side of things, which that's like, that doesn't go away. Not as hard as they want it to. It can't just disappear. But there's also the other side of that, which is they're making an active effort to try and make better decisions. They're trying to move towards being more creator-led, where everybody involved in the content that they release has a decision in how they want to portray themselves and how they want, what part they want to play in that brand. They're also moving more towards fashion and other things. So they wanted to have a more positive, they wanted to have a more, what would you call it, positive impact towards the female jiu-jitsu community, which was they wanted to allow self-defense
Playboy
courses and Playboy to be able to be involved in some of that stuff. And with my experience with the actual photo shoots, there was nothing sexualized about it. There was nothing, we weren't told to do anything we didn't want to do. We were in charge of how we wanted to pose in the photos and what we wanted to do. We came in there with ideas, and we wanted to just have a bit of fun with it. And from a creator's point of view, we were given full control of what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. And that was we had fun at the shoot. The reality is we had fun. We had a good time all hanging out with each other, and it was a fun day. I can see both sides of it. I can see what they're trying to do. And I also know Hyperfly, the brand. Hyperfly is one of the biggest female representatives in the jiu-jitsu space. Female CEO, has always put first having the highest quality female gear, whether that be leggings, sports bras, gi, tops and pants that fit a wide variety of women, because obviously women's body is very different to men's. So gi, fitting gis can be a really difficult thing. So they put a lot of energy into doing that. They work very closely with their female athletes. I think, and don't quote me on this, I think they have some of the highest proportion of female athletes sponsored. They have some of the most females sponsored, especially in the high level side of things.
At least the most successful. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Successful female athletes.
I've been working with Hyperfly for close to 7 to 9 years, somewhere in that time frame. So I've been working with them for a really long time. They supported me when no other brand would. They took a chance on me. They've been with me ever since. They've as I've progressed in my career, they've continued to support me in an appropriate amount. So as I've gotten more accolades, more exposure, all those kind of things, they've met me where market-wise I feel like I deserve to be. And they never hesitated on that. They were always willing to give me what I deserve. So I have to give them credit for that. Them as a brand, it's hard because people don't see it. People are not in the room with these guys when they're going through the creator-led approach to their brand. They're not in the room. They don't necessarily see how much time and energy and effort goes into making just a basic rash guard, but also the cuts so they're good with females and all these things.
It's difficult here because...
Yeah, I can see what they were trying to do. They were trying to do the right thing, and the CEO who wants nothing more than to help support specifically women in the space. She actually, her passion is towards women in the space, but also they just have good training gear in general. Unbiasedly, they have fantastic gis, fantastic rash guards, fantastic leggings. Like, I unbiasedly, they were some of the gis that I loved and had for the most part before I even was sponsored by them, because I really did enjoy their stuff. But they put a lot of energy and effort into that. So to see them try and do a really positive thing for the community, and the backlash that they got off the back end of that, that was like stressful for me to watch and see, because I did feel like out of power, like out of control. I couldn't really change how people were taking this collaboration. I knew personally where the collaboration was going to go, but we didn't like it. There wasn't the time to be able to explain that appropriately. And after a lot of thought and consideration, they made a decision to actually withdraw from that collaboration, because they saw how much pain it was causing the community, and wanted to act on that, even if it meant a financial deficit for them. And they've lost now the opportunity to work with a very well-known, like, what would you call it, mainstream brand. They've now backed away from that opportunity to put the jiu-jitsu community first.
Wow.
So it's a very, very complex issue. Me personally, I back Hyperfly all the way, not just from the perspective of they've been with me for a long time, but that doesn't detract from if you make a bad decision. They took accountability, they took action, and they really do want to build this community.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as like, you always get blindsided by it when you know the brand, like because we know their mission, we know like that how much they support women in the sport compared to like all the other brands. Honestly, they're definitely up there as probably the best for that. You don't really like, I would never even thought about that collab being seen in that way, just because of how I know that brand and their values. So like you just don't even realize. But then when you see the other end and you see like the response, I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Like I see how people have taken it. But because you know their intentions are so like good, and their intentions are to always bring up women in jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu in general, like I didn't even think about it, honestly. So I think it's just the perspective that we have of that brand is so different that like I can see how the general person can see it in that light, and like it was probably the best decision to do what they did. But they owned it, and I really appreciate that. And that kind of just makes it even better for me in terms of like where I see them and like the stance that they take on things. The fact that they kind of just owned it, well, like, yep, we screwed up, like let's fix it. Because I don't think a lot of brands or people would do that. And like there's still gonna be people that are gonna shoot on them and all of that, but like when have you not done something wrong in your life? You know what I mean? Like you make mistakes too. So
yeah, it's easy jumping in brand from the backside of a keyboard. It's easy having an opinion from the backside of a keyboard. They're out there doing things to positively impact the community. I know it firsthand. I know that they're putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to actually impacting the community in a positive way. And I know that. I've been in the room with them. So I know that their heart is in the right place, and they're willing to do the things to continue uplifting this community. I do think like something that hits me the wrong way is when people that don't have direct connections to the people involved in Hyperfly, when they start to directly attack those involved, like those members of the Hyperfly organization, when they start getting attacked, that's just not fair. Because if you're at the back end of that keyboard, you don't know them. Like you're not in the room with them, you haven't had a conversation with them. I don't think that's appropriate. It's not fair. And like they take it to heart. They care about what people think of them and their brand, and it's sad to see people just attacking people. If you go through the comments, it's like everybody from every which sway of it are just attacking at each other, and it's just sad to see so many people arguing with each other, and just for no good reason. Like, not that their opinion is not a good reason, but more so like they're just having arguments with each other. And it's infuriating. It's just like, guys, step away from your keyboard for a minute. Just everybody needs to settle down. It's just
like some people was laughing at some because some people were calling her a misogynist.
Oh my god.
And that killed me. I was like, imagine being like a woman in like a male dominated sport, also dating another woman, but being like a misogynist.
I clearly hate women. Clearly,
Yeah.
clearly I hate women.
Yeah.
Remember we were showing clearly.
But like they also don't know, like they don't know what she does behind the scenes, like and how much she
will.
like she fights for women's pay in the sport and to pave the way for like the next generation of women, and how many like fights she's had to turn down because they're not paying enough. And it's not because she doesn't get that money, but it's because if she sets that standard being at the top of the sport, then what about the next person who's not like number one in the world? What are they going to get paid then? And it's not because she doesn't want to do the fight. It's because you don't want to set that standard because that screws everyone else over.
Yeah, it has that trickle down effect.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So it's like she thinks about that all the time. It's like, how can we lift a sport for the other women? And people just don't see that. It's like, well, what are you doing for the sport on the other side of that keyboard? Like, where's your contribution to the women's jiu-jitsu space? Like nothing. So
Yeah, even going past the women's jiu-jitsu space, I think it's important to put your money where your mouth is. And if you have an opinion on something, for instance, I've done almost all the IBJJF competitions majors. If not, I think I've done all of them, other than Nogi Brazilian Nationals. Shout out IBJJF. And I think that they're an amazing affiliation. I think
I like my $2 t-shirt.
you mean your $150 t-shirt? As a federation, I think they're incredible, and what they've done for the sport is incredible. I think we're now at a time where they need to support their black belts.
Yeah.
Like I think it's crazy that you could win a world title and not get paid a cent.
Yeah.
That to me is
Crazy.
insane.
you actually paid.
Yeah, you have to pay to register. You have to pay to be there. And I took a stance on that last year, which was I didn't register for Nogi Worlds at the end of the year. Could have topped off a brilliant year doing one more competition and decided not to because I didn't think it was fair
Yeah.
to do that competition, bring legitimacy and prestige to that competition, but not get supported back.
Yeah.
That to me was just didn't sit right with me. So, and that was a really tough decision for me to make because I as much as the next person, I want a Nogi black belt world title. Like I want one for the sake of having one, but I also understand that if I just keep doing that and feeding into that, the next generation is going to get nothing.
Yeah, there's not going to be that change, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of athletes that have been outspoken about it, but also then gone on to register for those competitions.
Right.
That's where I'm like, you have to be willing to have self-sacrifice for the better of the next generation.
Yeah.
But it's easy to say something. It's easy to put something on social media. It's another thing to do it. And that's, I think, where we have the biggest problems.
Yeah.
Do you guys think moving away from privatization will benefit jiu-jitsu? Let's like say we make jiu-jitsu mainstream, government funded,
Like Olympic kind
just
of
like
sport.
judo, just like freestyle wrestling.
That's a tough one. I think it's tough because Olympics doesn't always equate to financial gain for the athletes. In
Yeah.
fact, a lot of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
Having extra funding from the government would be really cool. Like I've done jiu-jitsu for 16 years. Like I've done decently okay in the sport representing Australia. But I haven't received a cent from the Australian government, nor have I received any news coverage at all whatsoever
Yeah.
from any mainstream news outlet.
That's shocking.
But it doesn't.
Bizarre.
They want to know about football, like AFL. They want to maybe know about soccer or rugby, and then that's about it.
Like swimming.
Tennis when it's in town, swimming when it's in
They'll
town.
do like
Yeah.
Olympic sports, but they'll put coverage on like national championships on like 7 News, and then there's like someone who's from Australia who's won literally the biggest world title you can and nothing.
No, I don't want to hear about it.
Always find that so wild because you look at, I'd come from the more of like an MMA perspective, right? But you go to like an amateur show filled with fighters who no one gives a shit about, right? It's like family and friends that care, and the other people just want to see people punch on.
Yeah.
But it's but it's sold out. You go to you go to a Road to X show. It gets sold out. By the time the main event's on, the place is packed. There's 1,500 people at the Melbourne Pavilion, right? They sold out.
That's amateur,
Yeah, and it's amateurs. And then you look at pros, they sold out Festival Hall like maybe a year and a half ago. It was like 3,500 people
That's crazy.
with pro fighters that outside of Australia, people don't really give a shit about. So I think it's crazy that combat sports don't have that sort of push. We're like, holy shit, people are paying attention to this here. It's not just footy, swimming, and tennis, right? Like, yeah.
It's controversial, right? How long ago was it that cage fighting was illegal in Melbourne?
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like, don't quote me on this, maybe 7 years ago.
Yeah.
That it was like you couldn't have a cage. You weren't allowed to fight in a cage in Melbourne.
Yeah, I remember because Sean Gerchek there's a picture on his Instagram. I think it's like 2016. He had an MMA fight, but in a boxing ring. Yeah.
So that was fine. You could have an MMA fight in a boxing ring, which, just for the record, way more dangerous.
Yeah, you're
I
gonna
think
go.
it's a double leg. You're going out of that ring, so it's actually really dangerous.
Yeah.
But it was about the cage and what the cage represented. That was the argument that it was always playing. It's like you could do the same sport just in a ring or on some mats, whatever. But there's so much controversy around about like the violence of it. If we do violence over here, then there's going to be more violence in all that kind of stuff. So it's like, I think slowly the mainstream media is becoming more accepting of it. Like Volkanovski is an excellent example.
Yeah.
Every man and their dog in Australia love him.
Yeah.
And he's a top bloke too. He's a good guy, so that helps. He's also, literally the best in the world at the moment. So
Yeah.
he's making a big push for increasing combat sport and the what do you call it? The spectators in combat sport and the recognition that combat sport athletes get.
Yeah.
We got a long way to go.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. Maybe the next Olympics, who knows? Probably not.
Boxing was on the teeter. They weren't sure if boxing was going to come back for the next Olympics.
I wouldn't be surprised with the controversy that came from the last.
Yeah, I think they've confirmed it now, but it was like this thing.
But even I think just the controversy alone and the fear of that kind of stuff and what that brought, it had a big impact on the Olympics that just passed.
Yeah.
So it's I think the Olympics will want to take a safe bet and pick not as controversial sports.
Yes.
So did they take away breakdancing?
Australia represent. Let's go.
Laughing stock of the Olympics was just breakdancing.
It's amazing.
If they let breakdancing in, it's crazy that jitsu's in it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's crazy, right? Like archery. It's been there for a long time, but still, like, jiu-jitsu is less of a sport.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Nuts.
Yeah. I have one last question from one of our humble viewers at the BJJ coach. He asked, against a bigger and stronger player, what's your favorite guard to play?
Against a bigger, stronger player, what's my favorite guard to play? That's a very good question. In the gi, I'd say a collar sleeve guard because best distance management, most attachment points, best ability to keep your partner away. In a no-gi perspective, I think that's a tough one because anything that is good with distance management. So a reverse De La Riva that has like a left foot to be able to keep them away is really important. You got to be careful about pulling yourself too deep underneath. I'm a bit wary about playing too like deep of a De La Riva because if they're bigger than you and they move in a abrupt way, then you can get your legs caught. Probably a reverse De La Riva if you're playing no-gi, but collar sleeve if you're playing gi for sure.
What about a closed guard?
Closed guard for sure. If you can get him into closed guard. Closed guard's a no-brainer.
Moving, right?
If we're talking open guard, that's what I would say. If we're talking like, if closed guard is okay as an option, closed guard always.
So yeah, it just requires connection. It's hard to get to.
Exactly.
Especially without a key.
You got to make a connection to get to closed guard, so that's why collar sleeve's a good way to just get him in.
Did you have any closing questions?
No, nothing from me. Do you guys have anything you want to ask to our audience?
From the down the back, last finger.
Emergency athletes listening.
I think it just pulls our stats up. I don't know. It honestly is a phenomenon, hey, because all of the females that won at ADCC,
Sure.
lesbians.
Wow.
Every gold medal that was given out at ADCC, lesbians. Wow. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Rafaela, Anna Vieira, me,
You're right.
and then me again.
I reckon, like, from a science perspective, all right, let's try and break this down. I feel like there has to be a connection with, like, testosterone levels during, like, development, all right, and, like, being lesbian. And then also being good at sport.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's not a coincidence that a lot of lesbians enjoy playing sport and like are pretty good at it too.
But
So
they're probably a certain style of lesbian.
Yes.
yes, like it's not a complete generalization.
I would love to get like my
IT.
I would love to get like my baseline level testosterone like
Yeah, and compare.
well
it to the
because
average
so
one.
I did a piss test with Lockie Giles when so I'm natural. I did a pee test with Lockie and my understanding is a piss test for testosterone in females is not accurate. You have to do like a blood
No,
test.
not like for if you're not doping, it's not like accurate. It's more blood tests, I think.
So I have to do a blood test to know what like the baseline level will do. So I'd love to do a blood test to know like what my baseline testosterone level is out of curiosity, just to see if it is above
I've totally
whatever
thought
the
about this.
average is.
No, that's interesting you say that because my sister's bi at least,
Yeah.
and she's like crazy high level soccer player. So like,
I'm telling
There
you,
you go.
like it is honestly, there's definitely a correlation, but and I've thought about it a lot. I really wonder if there's like something biological, and there has to be, but like there's no studies on it. I have looked it up. It's like this is the science brain.
That's such a
going
hard
out.
study to set up though. 'Cause
Yeah.
how do you like you put an ad in the newspaper calling all lesbians?
No, you have to you have to study them.
Lesbians in sport. Yeah, we want you.
You get in a van and they just start driving you to conversion camp. Fuck! Dang it!
Deacon Uni starts distributing flyers in the CBD. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, shit. Maybe one day.
Yeah, you gotta monitor it from like as a kid, like just constant like levels, testosterone levels, and then like see what happens when they grow up if they end
My
up being
parents
gay or
probably
not.
knew when I was 5 years old. Yeah. I was wearing my brother's clothes, I reckon, when I was 5, and I was a competitive little thing, playing every sport known to man. So when I told my parents, they were like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Amazing.
Oh,
Any other questions?
good questions.
I'm out of juice, so I've got like a 40 seconds left of recording.
Alright. Wrapping it up.
wrapping it up.
Find Adele on Instagram at Adele Fornarino, Nev Rikalo, Julien Hermanjat. Please like and subscribe and shout out Jab Jab app for making all of this possible.